You know, I remember October 8th, sitting in my house and saying, oh my gosh, I don't have a Magen David. I don't have a chai. I need to have a necklace. And I Googled, you know, Star of David necklaces near me, found one in Bethesda, and was getting ready to leave my house, and I stopped. I was wearing my son's Israel lacrosse sweatshirt. I took it out of his closet. I just needed to wrap myself in Israel. And the sweatshirt had a big Israeli flag, and the flagpole was a lacrosse stick. And for the first time in my life, I thought, is it safe for me to leave the house wearing this? And I was going to Bethesda. And I said, stand up, walk out of the house, and wear that sweatshirt. And I will never forget walking from the parking garage to the store. A young woman approached me, and she could have been 18 or 28. She was young, long brown hair. And as she walked by me with her head down, she whispered, I like your sweatshirt. And I will never forget that moment. It was in that moment I felt solidarity. I felt collective strength. I felt like I was not alone. And I think it was even more powerful that that message and that connection was coming from another woman. In many ways, October 7th is the story of Israeli women, whether it is the young IDF soldiers or the intelligence officers who tried to warn the government and were ignored, whether it is the victims and survivors who experienced the most barbaric atrocities, whether it's the mothers of the hostages, whether it's the women who should be but are not at decision-making and negotiating tables. I am here today with 3 women who are doing outstanding work. I am humbled by what you do. And I have to add that now, I not only put on the little Star of David that I bought that day, but I don a stack, much in the way a warrior would put on armor. And each of these necklaces was given to me by an amazing Israeli woman who is doing the very hard work on the ground. And you inspire me from what you hold on your shoulders. So you saw a little bit about them in the video. I want to introduce them from my left. Moran Katzenstein, who is the founder of Bonot Alternativa. Ifat Baron, who is the founder of itworks, and Tamar Shwartz, CEO of Ruach Nashit, or Women's Spirit. So I was talking to somebody recently, and I said, it's so weird to say, how are you? It's just like, how are you? How are you supposed to answer? And they said, say, how are you holding up? So I want to start with the 3 of you. Moran, we'll start with you. How are you holding up personally in this moment?
Naturally, first of all, hi, all of you. And I'm humbled to sit here as well. Personally, I think as all of us, October 7th shocked us and it took us by surprise. We didn't see it coming. And I felt it physically. I don't know, maybe some of you as well. I was physically unable to get out of bed at the first time, but I did because all of the activities we did. The silver lining of this story is that little did I know that I was pregnant. So that gave a little bit of an explanation why I feel so bad. So now I have a 4th young baby, boy, is almost 6 months old. And actually, I think he helped me to go through this year. I know it might sound as a cliche, but he did. He and my family, it was like a love drug. And every time someone was down, I told her, come hug Eyal. So on a personal note, this year was horrible, but also incredible.
Ifat.
Toda. Very nice to meet you all. I think that waking up on October 8th, I felt that my personal security, something was broken there. Seeing what we all saw in TV, families that were slaughtered, children that were taken out brutally from their houses with PJM. So something was a really chaotic year. And in my personal story, my husband lost his job during this year because of the startup high-tech, lost so many investments. My sister lost her job. My mother, she's 75, she couldn't go out of home because she was afraid that there will be alarm and she couldn't go to a shelter. Waking up during this week with no water in supermarket, no kindergartens, no schools, and in the middle of this chaotic year, I'm working in a diverse organization, working with Arab and Jewish women together. So to manage this diverse team was not an easy mission.
That's right. You know what? I actually think we have enough microphones for everybody.
You here? Hello. First of all, I want to thank you for this question, you know. I just thought about it because usually we are invited as professional. I'm social worker, I'm a CEO of organization, and I always talking about my work, about our clients, the women that we take care, and nobody asks how I feel. So thank you, first of all, to ask how we are. Because I think as women, it's very easy to us to skip how we feel. We immediately take care of others. And so I will tell you, the 7th of October, my daughter, my third daughter, the youngest, she is a soldier. She wake me up, Mommy, there is a war, wake up. Not operation, not a project, not limited, a war, wake up, I'm going to the army. Saturday. Imagine yourself, yes? You live in New York, your daughter is waking you up. Mommy, there is a war. And immediately the WhatsApp group, all the WhatsApp group, and I'm in origin from the south. I have friends in Be'eri, Kibbutz Be'eri, that paid horrible price. Immediately I text my friend, she says, I'm hiding in the attic. I said to her, do you have it in less Anna Frank style? In the attic, she is... And I can tell you what gave me strength, and I really join everything that Ifat says, and I'm working with women victims of violence. I will elaborate about it more. Their situation is worse a lot in the war. But I can tell you what gives me power. Two things. One, my work. It gives me meaning because immediately the WhatsApp group of the team, we started to talk and to do. If you can do something, then you feel meaningful, then you feel better. And the second thing, it will look not logic to you what I will say. I will share with you. I myself, I'm a bereaved mother. So immediately I got into the job. Horrible job, but very meaningful job, to be a mentor to the so many new bereaved families. I put post in the Facebook and many are following me, so immediately I got messages. Can I send you a mother to talk? Can I send you? Not as a social worker, as a mentor for grief.
Tamar, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And thank you for what you're doing. You shared that normally you're used to speaking about your work, your professional work. So I'm going to start with you. Okay. Don't put down the microphone yet. How has October 7th impacted your work, your clients, your organization, the people you serve?
Okay. Look, for me it's very important to speak about it because people from the outside, they see Israel. they see it naturally, yes, as one box, okay? And I want to emphasize that not all the population in Israel suffered the same in the war. I'm talking in generalization, yes, average. Women suffer more, and victims of violence suffer even more. First of all, women were the first to be fired from work. Ifat told about this. Places of work were shut down, and more women than men were put on unpaid leave immediately and fired and have no way of providing for themselves. And specifically women victims of violence, first of all, this emergency situation immediately raised the violence. It happened in the COVID too, and also in the war. Immediately the violence go up. But what's the problem? We see less complaints because the woman says, I will complain now. There is a war. They shut their mouths in this time. They are embarrassed to talk about their personal situation. If the husband is going to the war, to reserve forces, to the army, how do you think he's coming back? More aggressive. I'm not trying to say that every man that is going to the war is coming back and beating his wife. No. But the ones that were on the edge, they could hold themselves before. After the war, they are with energy, bad energy there, okay? They are coming back. Whom they will put it on? Who is near them? The wife and the children. And the ones that are divorced, they are not with the husband, the violent husband. In the first months, there were no educational frameworks. What do you think? The divorced father is taking the children? Of course not. She takes the children. Now, even if her employer kept her working place, she couldn't come to work, so she didn't have salaries. And to say the last thing, that women victims of violence have usually PTSD, post-traumatic disorder, and complex PTSD. Even if you live in a place, no bombing on you, there are some places like this in Israel, and your divorced husband, the father of the children, take the children, okay, everything is okay. But you see, you know, the Israeli television, all the time, and the social media, 24 hours panels on the war. All the triggers come. I tell you, I felt it on myself. Some of our volunteers lost sons in the war, also in the Nova Festival, if you heard about it. And they were out of the process. Our process is long, it's 2.5 years mentoring those women towards economic independence. This will assure that you don't come back to the violent home. Now they tell me, I cannot, I'm not available in my mind to talk about it. So immediately we change our work for a few months. We brought them food. We never do it. I always say we don't give fish. We give a hook to fish. We train them. But what can we do when the refrigerator is empty? So we raise money to buy food and laptop that their children can learn from home because there were no educational friends. And emotional support. A lot of group and also private emotional support until they gain the force again and they can go back to their process. And we did also a comprehensive work. I will elaborate about it later. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I also want to share that the women who are being fired first, it sometimes has nothing to do with their seniority at the workplace. It is simply because they are a woman. And your work with economic empowerment is so important. As we say at JWI, if a woman has access to money, she has access to her future and to options, and it's critical. And these are the stories that we are not hearing about what's happening on the ground in Israel. Moran, I've heard that when women are not at decision-making tables, the decisions that are made reflect that. They don't reflect the needs and rights of women. So this was something that inspired you to found Bonot Alternativa, and I was wondering if you can speak about your organization and how it has changed since October 7th, but really the work that was started before.
Sure. So I have to say that I don't come from an activist or a feminist work agenda. My background is from actually corporates, mostly American corporates. I worked for Coca-Cola, for Google, and Bonot Alternativa happened almost by accident. There was a endless cycles of election in Israel. I don't know if you remember. And everyone was talking about who will lead us, who will be the male alternative. No one was talking about women. So I opened this small group. We were 40 women to discuss who will be our female leaders. And I called it Bonot Alternativa. In Hebrew, it means women building an alternative. And then less than a month later, there was a horrifying gang rape that happened in Eilat with a young girl and 30 participants. And that was actually our first activist action, because we moved our anger to action. And we did 30 demonstrations across the country and one big demonstration in Tel Aviv, and midday strikes all over. And that was the first time I understood the power we have when we work as a group. And then we were very active during the judicial overhaul, the protest you saw. We did the Handmaid's Tale protest. And after the war, in a split of a second, we were already all over the country, and we opened over 50 emergency centers. And one of our women from our network came to us and told me, Moran, my daughter is a commander of IDF spotters. Her spotters were literally forgotten. They were at the war rooms, still, I'm sorry about what I'm about to say, with the blood. They're still there. They don't even have clothes and panty to change. So ever since, we are working with IDF spotters with everything they need, physically, mentally, whatever. Also, I put signs on your tables. Shortly after, thank you, shortly after the war started, we understood two horrifying facts. First, that there were gender-based crimes in Israel, what never happened before. And the second thing is that the world doesn't believe us and the women organization are silent. So we did a lot. We opened the headquarters for the recognition of Hamas crimes, and we did a lot of demonstrations. Most rememberable were here in front of the UN. And after doing all of this job and a lot of things, okay, I can sit here and eventually the basic thing is that for us in Israel, women don't have political power. That's the fact, okay? We are not around the decision-making table. There is just one woman in the cabinet, and I'm not sure how much help she gives. In the negotiation team to return the hostages, there is 0 women, okay? So all of the help that we're doing doesn't transform into political power. And eventually, you know, we can help here and here and here, but this is the basic problem. So this is what we understood that we need to change. In Hebrew, leadership and women leaders is the same word. It's manigut. Manigut and manigot, it's the same thing. And that's what we're missing. So actually what we're doing is taking all of the communities and the community leaders. The most natural thing that needs to happen is that we won't just empower them, is that we'll put them in power. And this is what we're doing.
Wow, it's amazing. I was inspired last night when we met, and I thought, oh, I saw that on Instagram. I saw that campaign. You're the force that made it happen. It's very interesting what you were saying about the world being silent. So I was at JWI's work is now entering into that global stage of gender-based violence, addressing conflict-related sexual violence. And someone at the UN said, you know, welcome to the really excuse my language, shitty sisterhood. This is what happens. No one cares about conflict zones where rape is used as a weapon of war. And I would disagree with that, because I think it wasn't just the silence. It was saying that it was it was justified. To justify rape, to deny what happened, they don't ask the Yazidi women, well, we don't believe what happened to you. They don't say it was deserved to the women in Ukraine.
We
The
don't
denial.
ask proof.
I don't ask the amount of proof that is there, that is being cast aside as propaganda, is shocking. And I'm sorry, this is about anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, so it is absolutely horrendous. Ifat, I want to turn to you and see how things post-October 7th have impacted your work.
So I started my career around 25 years ago working for Cisco Systems as corporate social responsibility manager. Sorry, I'm talking fast. And when I worked there, I saw that there are so many open positions that are outsourced outside of Israel. It's more than 10,000 positions in the high-tech sector that every year companies from Israel outsource to Ukraine, to India, and other countries. So I say to myself, there are so many talented high-tech people that learn in the university, and they are here in Israel in the same time zone, but they have so many barriers and challenges that they cannot reach those positions. So I open itworks, assisting women, single mothers, Arab community, and Olim Chadashim to integrate it to the high-tech sector. So waking up October 8th, I say to myself, okay, something should be done differently now. We did a huge survey with more than 2,000 people that answered to see what they need. And we did three new initiatives after the survey. The first one for Druze soldiers that coming out of the army, they are losing their jobs. There are so many soldiers that serve the army for 1, 2, 3, 12 months, coming back home, and they do not have jobs. So we are assisting Druze engineers that lost their jobs, miluimnikim, men and women, the reserve that did the army, and coming back, they do not have jobs. And also we are enhance our support to employers in order to keep diversity and inclusion that we are working on the last 20 years, that we will not get back from all the achievement we had.
Amazing. Tamar, I want to turn back to you, because you had said while you were speaking that there was more you wanted to share about the work of and the important work around economic empowerment, especially for survivors of violence.
Yes, I want to emphasize that we don't work only on the private domain. We work also on the comprehensive domain. We are doing a lot of workshop and lectures in Israel and also abroad. And also we try to change legislation. Okay, you understood? Laws. In Israel. And when the war started, so we joined some letters and initiate some letters to the government in many issues. Also, what Moran said, please put women in the decision-making places, because we are working also in our concrete content, and also we are part of a feminist coalition. But also to give compensation to women that are evacuated or lose their job. Always we try to put the feminine angle in every act towards the government. And we have a status of consultant organization to the UN. I was in April 2023, before the war, I was in Geneva. I was talking in the UN in Geneva that my government is not advancing the law to prevent economic violence. I know you don't have it also in Israel. in the States. We don't have it in Israel. And I went to complain on my government in the UN, in the Council for Civil Rights in Geneva about this. This was April 2023. Now, March 2024, I came here to the UN. March is the month of the International Women's Day. And Gilad Ardani was the ambassador in the UN, and he made a big event. He spoke, and the Minister for Social Justice spoke, and people from the States. And we were the only NGO that spoke. And I told them, I want to tell you about the woman in the home front. Everybody is talking about the hostage, the soldiers. Of course, it's horrible what happened in the 7th of October, but there are many women in Israel that the 7th of October is all the time. It didn't end. It's all the time for them till this day. And I want to put a light on this. So I was, again, also we were astonished by the cold back that we got from our sister in the UN women. They should be our sister, not to tell us that these are warriors of freedom. I don't care what's your political view. It's human being. How can it be done, really, as a human to human? It's horrible. I can tell you something good that happened. The light in this, I don't want to say horrible times, because every horrible times, believe me, I speak from my experience. When you are the most down, there is always a light, always. Ruth, where is Ruth? She talked about hope in the previous Ruth. Yes, my model, my inspiration. About hope in the previous panel. I know it. And in June, we got the Presidential Award for what we did in the war in the since 7 October in the house of Herzog, the president, and my chair. Thank you. It was for the volunteer work, because we have hundreds of volunteers all over Israel. And my chairwoman, Hagit, please stand.
Please stand up.
Yes. She got it because she's a volunteer, the head of the volunteers, Hagit. I embarrass you enough.
Thank you. And Mazel Tov on the President's Award. Moran, you spoke about this incredible 100,000 strong movement that you have created. But what are you actually doing? Can you explain to us to make sure that when there is the opportunity, there will be women elected to those positions of power?
Sure. So I'll give you an example to show what we're doing. 6 months ago, there was a municipality election in Israel. And we championed our leaders. We have 130 leaders. Each one has a community that she's leading, an activist community, a professional community, with dozens or sometimes hundreds of women. And we encourage them to run to municipality election. And first thing that we did a course with in a collaboration with other women organization in Israel to give them the skills, the tool, the professional information. But the thing is that we are so many women that it's easier for us to put some political pressure. And then 30 decided to run for municipality. 16 was elected. Thank you. For the first time, there are municipalities in Israel, when we have Bonot there, that have the majority of women in the council. For the first time, thank you, for the first time, there are councils that have 50-50. For the first time, There, not for the first time. There are also councils that doubled the number of women in the councils. And still, there are 71 municipalities that have 0 women in them, mostly Arab and ultra-Orthodox. So this is done. We are championing women, but I have to say that there are many women organizations that are working toward this mission and putting the pressure also on the candidates. For example, we are very active in the liberals area. So I said to the candidates, if you will not have 50% women in your list at the beginning, we will not support you. And suddenly, everyone, and there are all more organizations that are doing so, but we are like the protest movement, so it's like it, and for the first time, everyone was looking for the red women. Suddenly, everyone wanted to say that they have women in their team, and everyone was like, for the first time, they were chasing us, and that's a good thing. And by the way, it didn't end there. After the election, we have 8 teams for each city that they are sitting in the city council meetings with red shirts, and they are following everything that happens. They know if there are red women that following them. They're even talking nicer to other women member council just because we are sitting there. And that's an impact because they need to be, I don't know if to say be afraid, but to be afraid. And we are also ask a woman as a pilot to register to democratic parties. In Israel, I'm not talking like democracy. It's not like here. It's like every party that you can join democratically, even the Likud. Because really, I don't care like if you are right-wing or left-wing, as long you carry our values. And we encourage them to register. And we also did more impact, but I will not elaborate anymore. But the thing is that we are doing something that men are doing all the time, using their political power. And this is what we're doing. And we are sending women there. And it's easier because it's not like I'm taking a woman from the street and telling her, run. She's doing things. She's initiating things. She's an activist. We are just allowing her to do it. So after she's doing all of those things, it's very natural for her to run. And we will push her with the numbers, with the support, with everything she needs.
And I can't wait to see your campaign for MK or Prime Minister maybe. But here's hoping. I want to follow up with you though, Moran. I have a question. I know here in the States, when women run for office, they are faced with an assault of online hate. And I'm wondering if that happens in Israel. What are the other things that are dissuading, preventing women for running for office? And I think that's the beauty of your collective.
No, they're so nice. You're so nice. Like, look at my my Twitter account. They are also they are being so nice to me. Really, all of them. Being a woman that have a political point of view, especially in this current government, which everyone that's opposed to what they're doing is the enemy, it has a cost, it has a price. And it's true for women in Israel, particularly. But I have to say, to be fair, that it goes both ways, okay? And the same way that I don't like them to go after liberal, left-wing, or center candidates, I don't like it when they're cursing the right wing, okay? We don't share the same values, but don't go there. Because when they're cursing her, the next woman will be me or you. And we shouldn't allow it, okay? Even here, it's important. I don't even like it when they're doing it to Sarah Netanyahu, and God knows I have my share of thought. But don't allow them to do it, because then we are normalizing that if she doesn't think like me, then she's, okay? Thank you.
Amazing.
But there are so many like small solutions. For example, a year and a half ago, a very big Twitter women influencer came to me and said, it's really hard on Twitter. And I told her, okay, let's open the WhatsApp group with women that every time you post on Twitter, we will support you. And this group is still active, and they're supporting one each other. So it's not, you are no longer alone. We have a solution, not we as Bonot, us, have a solution to everything, okay? So now if someone is writing something, he's getting like, we even have another WhatsApp group that if someone is talking badly, then we report him. You can take notes.
I love what you said about supporting the influencers who are getting hate. When we were in Israel with our, I believe, Israeli women delegation, Alana Newhouse, who's the founder of Tablet Magazine, we were saying to her, like, how do we reach people? How do we change the narrative? And she said, think of people on a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being the from the river to the sea people, and 4 being the most pro-Israel. She said, don't waste your time with the 1s and the 2s. She said, instead, strengthen the 4s, provide them with information, let them know that you stand with them, and speak to the 3s and encourage them to also raise their voices. And again, this is the power of what we can do as women. Ifat, speaking of women, you shared how you also began itworks when you were becoming a mother. And I think how much, whether it's Shira Almog or Rachel Poland, Jewish mothers are really the voices and faces of October 7th. Can you speak to what the mothers of Israel are feeling in this moment and what they need in this moment?
Okay, a good question. I have 3 children. My older one, Asaf, he's 17 years old. He wants to be a pilot. So since October 7, he's running every day. He's going to the gym and running computer simulations. My other son, Ori, he just turned 13. He wants to be Ramatkal, Chief of Staffs, but directly Chief of Staff, without no other positions in between. And lucky me, I have a daughter, she's 11, she wants to be the army singer. So, raising boys those days and feeling that they're serving the army and serving the community and serving Israel, but other communities are not taking part. This is, from my point of view, something I would like that will be changed, because everybody should take part, everybody should pay taxes, everybody should work, everybody should give and take. And this is why I established itworks, because I wanted that employment will be accessible for everybody, for the Arab engineer living in Tamar, and for Haredi women from Bet Shemesh, or men, and Ole Hadash that just came from Ukraine when he had war there, and he came to war here. So this is why we are doing what we are doing, that my sons and my daughters and your children and all of the children we have, they will have the same burden as everybody else.
I love that. I know when you empower the mothers, how far that goes, not only to lift their homes, but their communities and their country. I have a final question for all 3 of you. The time went so quickly. You have a room full of people. Who are here to support you and who want to support you and to want to know what we can do for you, with you, in this moment. Tamar, I'm going to start with you. What is it?
I tell you, it's hard to bring into words. We try to tell you how it is to live in Israel these days. But I think it's hard if you are not really, if you don't feel it on your skin. And so I will tell you, I will share with you people that come to me and try to understand how it is to be a bereaved mother. What do you do? and I said to them, because I think we are a country in a bereaved situation, you know, we are all bereaved. So thousands of people dead, people kidnapped. Every day the television start. Now we give you the names that we can publish today that are soldiers that are being killed. Every day you watch. If you know, you look at the TV, if you know the person, and each one of us know, because Israel is a small country, you always know someone that happened terrible thing to the family. So what I tell people is, don't try to understand, because you cannot if you are not in the situation, and I pray that you will never be. Never, never. But the word that I suggest to you is presence. You know, we say in Hebrew, nochechut, to be present. For all what it can mean to you, be present with us, and we will feel it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ifat.
I share what my friend just said, and I feel coming here and receive so many hugs and kisses. And usually I'm alone. I'm running an organization with almost 20 employees. I'm quite alone. So coming here, receiving all those hugs and kisses, and that I know that Chair Society is important not only for me, but for the people here, and employment is important, and Israel is important. It's meant everything for me.
So history shows us that democracy and women goes hand in hand. And when democracy falls, the first to be harmed are women. And our mission is to protect women's rights in Israel democracy. So I think this mission is shared because we all want to keep Israel democracy for us, for our children. And this is what we're doing every day. We are eventually we're fighting, so Israel will be the insurance for every Jewish in the world, but also for us in Israel. And we need support. And you do need support. I don't know why did you say it. I want to share with you, yeah, we do. I want to share with you that in Israel, I don't know if it's in the world, but in Israel, less than 1% of philanthropy goes to women. And we are doing an amazing job. But it's hard. It's hard, and it's hard for ask for support. But we do need it. But we are looking for partners. We have Bonot branches all over the world. We have it in New York. We have Colombia Jewish American students, not Israeli, with Bonot. We have it in New Jersey. And I have to say, Bonot is a movement that have an NGO. It's bigger than an NGO. It's supposed to last. It is supposed to be 10 years from now. People that come to Bonot, they don't come for me. They come for themselves because they found their voice and an opportunity to lead. And it needs to last. And in my vision, it needs to be in every city in the world. They don't have to call it Bonot, but they must wear red. But seriously, we all here, because we are having a lot of support from you, but we do need more. Thank you.
I was going to share that also, because in this moment, I mean, whenever I think, whenever I feel tired and sad and, helpless, frustrated in this work, I think of all of you and your sisters from other organizations doing this work. You are fearless and tireless, and I am in awe of your courage and resilience. And yes, please, I encourage all of you to seek them out, find them, and see what more you can do. You know, we started this conversation with my story about necklaces. So there's another necklace that I'm wearing that says, Hineni, here I am. And Hineni, for them, was started by 2 graduates of Columbia's business school because of what they saw and experienced on their college campus. Even though they went on to their big corporate MBA jobs, they started a company where they would sell the necklaces that say Hineni. Now, for me, I always thought of Hineni as a call to leadership. You know, God speaking to Moses from the burning bush, and Moses saying, Hineni shalachti, here I am, send me. For these 2 young women, here I am is their call to say, here I am for you. Here I am for my sisters. Here I am for my community. And I think about the message those 2 combined say, that in this moment, we need to say, here I am as a leader, as a voice, and here I am for you. So I call you to join our Hineni moment, and please join me in recognizing this tremendous panel with a round of applause.